done in pretty much no time. Okay, we're live. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. We can start another version or release of Demo Day. Demo Day, the idea is to, you guys have put so much effort in learning all these days and this past month and a half, I think. So the idea is to wrap up all the knowledge in something that is close to a real life project. As you all know, we're all programmers here. You all know that the most difficult things are not just sitting and coding, but finding libraries, working with other people, estimating, all those things are difficult. A developer that just vanishes, as Alan was telling me today, all those things are the problems you encounter when you're coding. Coding is not our main issue, but all the things that surround us. So Demo Day, what we're going to do, we have two groups today. We're going to, first, after this quick introduction, Martin is going to introduce our both guys that will be playing as such today. And then we will give you the mic, and you can share your screen and demo and your project. Tell us what you have built and any issue you might have had in this process. As I sure you know, you can guys ask whatever you want, whenever you want. The idea of this is provide valuable feedback for this bunch of guys who are working so hard these 3 weeks. All right. So thank you all again, Martin. It's all yours.
Yeah, I'm going to take just 1 minute to introduce all the members in the jury, just these two guys. First of all, Martin, also known as Ninja. We were friends, but he was my classmate in the university. We're friends, and we have worked together a couple of times. He's an amazing Python and C, C++ JavaScript developer. It's programmer in general, and he's also one of the main committers in an open source project called Ninja IDE. It's really cool and big project. It's an IDE written in Python for Python. So if you want to check it, it's an amazing project. Yeah, just that. Martin, do you want to say something?
No, hello everyone. My pleasure to be here and trying to share some knowledge with all the people here. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. And of course, Alan, thank you, man, for being here again. He was our student. I think it was the second batch. And I consider him like one of our success story at the moment. So he spent like 2 months studying with us, and after that he was hired by an IT company. So with all the knowledge he got in the course, he was able to manage the application in the company, and he finally got the job. So we are so happy to know that. Thank you very much, Alan, for being here. Do you want to say something?
No, I'm just happy to be here. It's been a wild ride this year. So.
That's it. So thank you very much. We know that you have spent some time looking at the project descriptions and also some time here in this session. So as time is valuable for everyone, we're so happy to have you here. Okay, should we start?
Yep. Who's starting?
Sashit, do you hear me? I don't know if Sashit is able to.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, okay, perfect.
Cool.
Okay, Yatri.
Do you guys want to start?
Us or sorry, I didn't catch.
Yeah. You and Will.
Yeah, Neil's not really here yet, but it'd be okay.
Do you want to give him some minutes? If you know he's coming, we can start maybe with Doug and Sadashiv, and then we can wait for Neil.
Yeah, I mean, if that's okay with you guys, I'd.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Doug.
Okay. Yeah, Sadashiv and I, we worked on our project together, and the concept.
Sorry, Luke. Can you take 1 minute to introduce yourself, just so the people in the jury can know you?
Oh yeah, sure. And Sadashiv, if you have anything to add, just
Yeah.
chime in, because we haven't really prepared what we're gonna present. But my name's Doug. I'm a developer from Idaho. I primarily design websites, but I'm trying to move to the back end. And yeah, that's me. And
So,
Sadashiv.
yeah, hey, hi, guys. I'm Sadashiv. I'm currently an embedded software engineer at a company in San Francisco. So I've been mostly on uh, chip bring up and board bring up and writing like low-level device drivers for SoCs and mostly very close to the hardware. So I just want to like explore the application layer and learn more about uh, web development and all that. So this is like my first hit at this domain. So this has been great.
Okay. So the idea, I work a lot with the stock market, and so I'm always interested in stocks and trading and stuff like that. And so the idea I came up with, I'll bring it up here. There's a common, and there's an echo somewhere, but there's a common, I guess, theory in trading stocks that you have as much luck picking a winning stock as a monkey does throwing a dart and picking a winning stock. And so my idea, or our idea that we decided to work on, was to create a website that essentially was like a monkey picking a portfolio of stocks and comparing the performance of those stocks with the S&P 500. So maybe that sounds confusing. If you have any questions or if I'm not explaining it very well, please feel free to ask. But there is an article on Forbes just saying that we kind of based this all on, called "Any Monkey Can Beat the Stock Market." You guys can see my screen, right? Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Right.
So any monkey can beat the market. So that was our kind of hypothesis. I'll let Sadashiv talk about kind of the features that we wanted to have, the services we employed, and how we deployed the website.
So what we basically wanted to do was to like pick a random number of stocks every day, and we collect them and retrieve the performance of that particular day, and then calculate that portfolio's performance for that day, and then compare it to the benchmark performance, which we chose was S&P performance. So so every day we grab the data and then put it into the database, and then uh, we kind of decide who won for that day, and we want to track that performance over the year, or given a range of dates, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the features that we want to provide, and we want to like visually show them like who performed better on that particular day, uh, and who underperformed or outperformed that day, and that's about it for the features that we want to show. Do you want to add some more?
Yeah, I think you've pretty much covered it. It's a simple concept, I guess. So Basically, it's going to get more value the longer it collects data. So since we haven't been collecting data very long, it's not the most amazing information yet, but it's pretty cool. Some of the services we used, this was really a difficult part of the project, was finding how to get stock quotes from companies and the S&P 500 in a reliable way, and we searched for a long time to find different data sets that we could use, and we ended up not using any that I have listed here. We ended up using Bloomberg as our API. They have an amazing endpoint that was exactly what we needed, and it gives us 1 year performance and year-to-date performance, which was perfect. Sadashiv, he set up the hosting on AWS. We just used the free tier and did an Ubuntu VPS, and he did great getting that all set up for us. And we used MySQL for Python, or MySQL DB, with Flask as our framework. And in hindsight, I'm kind of regretting using that because there's some weird issues that when it went live, there's still a lot of bugs now that it's live. But something that happens is Flask loses its connection to MySQL a lot if it's been inactive, and so we often have to just restart the SQL server, and there's not really like a simple solution to that. Like SQL Alchemy has a better solution, but I think in hindsight I probably would have done Django as our framework because I think that they have a better database ORM.
You guys
want to add anything, Sadashi?
Demoing the project?
What's that?
Can you start demoing the project, showing the
Oh yeah, okay, so we'll go. We called it Money Key.
Awesome, you got the name.
Yeah, hey, and so anyone can go there right now. It's been finicky, but
I think
we're able to show today's results, and so currently the Monkey portfolio is underperforming. We're down 10% year to date. For a 1 year performance, it's down 8.75. The S&P for the same time periods is down 5.6 and 2 point. These are all the stocks that were chosen for today's portfolio, and you can see their individual performances. And I'll let Sadashiv talk about some of the stuff he implemented. Sadashiv, you there?
You are muted, Sadashiv.
Oh. Okay, well I'll keep talking because something must be up. Sadashiv made a chart page which is going to track the results. Right now it's looking a little wonky because we've got multiple results per day. So this red bar would be when the monkeys outperformed, or when the blue bar would be the S&P 500, and it's only been going for a few days, so it's not that interesting. But it's going to be really cool come, a few months down the line when we can see if there's any sort of trends. Some of the features we've got, this is just a random portfolio. If you click it, it'll keep giving you a random portfolio. It's got an endpoint. You can just put in the URL how many you want, and it'll give you however many of from the S&P 500. And we're in the middle of implementing like a detail page of each company if you want to look at the company. But that's the gist of the website, and it is live if you guys want to just go and browse. But it's been a really fun project. It's been great to get to know Sadashiv, and I've learned a lot about stuff that I thought I had a good grasp on, but there's just a lot of challenges that come when you're trying to build an actual thing. So, thanks.
Cool. You guys would like to add anything else? Shiv, Duke, Doug?
Yeah, I think this decision making of what to choose and which way to go in this very short time, it's very critical for us because first we went off tried to use the Yahoo APIs and then we couldn't get what we wanted, and then switching back to like other Bloomberg and Google APIs, it took us quite a bit of our effort and time to get it right. So I think it's given me a lot of understanding of how to build a website and getting the servers up and getting all the installation and even the working with the AWS was not that easy as well, I would say, and it's been fun project, I would say.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Alan, Nisha, what do you guys think? Do you want to make any questions?
Yeah, I really want to say that I like the idea. I like the idea like create a project with as an abstract, like a paper, and try to demonstrate something. You mentioned you create a question and try to solve it. For me, that is amazing. You have built it, and even with the issues, you managed to make it work, and even deploy it and create a DNS, a domain for that. So that's perfect. Even with the technical issues you could have. So for me, it's pretty cool. I would like to ask you, what do you use for scraping? How the API works?
Here, I'll show you. And so our two biggest files are the moneykey.py and dbactions. So dbactions just is all our database. Moneykey's got the Bloomberg endpoints, but this is the URL. So we just build it and then we add the ticker and :US. And so if we put like Apple US, it just brings back a JSON object that these are dates in whatever the epoch thing, and then the price, and that's it. That's all it gave back. So it was actually challenging because I had to search. I'm converting last year's date from this back and forth, which it was a little tricky. And then I have to search through here. How do I find January 1st amongst all of this stuff for the year-to-date number? And then we calculate all that. That's done down here with, find index of date. So we're finding wherever it is, which index in this array is the correct date. Average performance, percent growth, the timestamp to date to timestamp. It was a lot of weird challenges that kind of cropped up.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool. How did you feel making the project?
I feel good. It's something I've had a question on. Like, I hope that we get some interesting results over time because, is it possible to beat the market, or is it better to just throw darts and pick stocks? Today the monkey stock is underperforming, but we can actually seed it with a different portfolio by going to the seed page, and so this is just making a call to the Bloomberg, so it takes a while, and it should give us. So now this new performance, we're actually outperforming the S&P and quite a bit on the year-to-date performance. So it's really interesting to see that randomly picking stocks is actually kind of a viable alternative to spending time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. I really like the idea of trying to something new in order to prove something you think and you're not sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's been such a great class that I'm really happy because I wouldn't have made this site. We wouldn't have worked on this, and it's been great to get to know Sadashiv and his expertise that he's brought. Like, it's been fun.
Awesome. And I really like the idea you research and you choose some of the good tools that Python offer for building web applications, such as requests, Flask. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's part of the job. Just not just trying to create the wheel again or reinventing the wheel. Just try to pick up what somebody else had made for you. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alan?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea. I was curious, actually, how do you pick the stocks randomly? How do you pick the monkey portfolio?
It is in the data DB actions. We just have a function here, get random companies, and it's a query. So we have a table that has all S&P companies in it that we seeded from one of those places, and it just selects star from the companies table, order by random, limit, and the limit is, we've set it at 30, but it can be, we could have a portfolio of 200 or 300 companies, and the more you get in there, the closer it's going to be to being exactly in line with the S&P, but
Right.
It's kind of interesting when we only choose like 5 companies to see what happens, because then there's been times where we're up like 15% and the market's down 6%.
Right. Very cool. So is the plan to like change the monkey portfolio like intermittently, or were you going to just kind of stick with one and see how that performs on a long-term basis?
No, it was supposed to be a daily thing. So like our random portfolio today
Oh, okay.
outperformed. Tomorrow we don't know if it's going to outperform or underperform. We're not going to track them. It's just we're going to keep a tally of when it outperforms and when it doesn't, and that's essentially it.
Sure. No, it looks awesome. Was there like, did you guys explore any ORMs, or like what was your decision process when it came to how you were going to handle the data?
In hindsight, we should have used an ORM because we've been having issues with the SQL connectivity, but I think we both just like wanted it to be as bare bones as possible. We didn't want to be importing too many modules. We just wanted to use what's with Python, and so we kind of got away with most of that, and MySQL DB just seemed like the base option, and
Sure.
it was it's just what we decided on, and I think it's been a good experience, but I probably won't use it again. I'd probably stick with something else.
No, it's definitely like a valid choice. I was just curious. No, it's really cool. Did you guys design the logo as well? Like, I really like the presentation. I mean, I guess you have like a design background, so it's really showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug did the logo design.
Yeah, my design is in graphics, so I just spent some time on it, but whatever. Thanks, I appreciate
it. Looks great. Yeah.
So
Do you have any? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, do you have any plans from this point forward, like in the future, like, do you plan to keep working on it?
Or we have is to add like more user interaction to the website, like have a user login and then select his or her portfolio and then compare against monkeys. So it's like just playing a game with the stock market. So that's one thing which we want to do, but let's see.
Yeah. Sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, I think I think that'd be great. We think that there's just like more data and analysis we can add to, like which companies are in the most successful monkey. We could just say like we could keep a tally of when monkeys picks outperform, which companies are usually in that, and then we can start to like filter out like, wow, Apple happens to be in like 10 of 20 of all the outperforming monkeys, like maybe that's a stock we should actually look at. And I mean, obviously Apple's an amazing stock to own, but there might be there's a lot of stocks in here that I have never heard of and know nothing about, but to see them on here and like, I mean, this guy Lilly is up 15%, 24% of the year. Like, what's going on with that company? And I need to look into that. So it'd just be interesting to see some of these stocks bubble up and see what's a good company, maybe.
Awesome.
Sure. Sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, I know there are some Python package in pip, for example, Yahoo Financial, something like that, with the data set. So you can take a look, probably you can scrape more data from there.
Yeah.
I just written a comment for you. You can take a look then. Just.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. That'd be awesome.
Okay, so if you guys make $1 million, we will get right? Thank you very much. We will give you our thoughts later. Is there anything else you guys want to share, Doug and Sadashiv, or Martin and Alan, or we can just jump to the other project?
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add, so thanks, everyone.
Okay, really cool. Yatri, Will, Neil, you guys ready?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
So I'm Yatri. I work for some tiny little company up in New York. I do like project management, IT work. So I'm really into like the scripting side of things. So doing like a web app for me was pretty new and interesting. Neil, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm Neil. I've worked as a software product manager for the Washington Post. I'm interested in getting into data science or big data. So part of the appeal of Python to me was seeing how it can handle and manipulate data. I have had some experience with some web frameworks in the past. So for this project, it was kind of a nice balance of data science, and we decided to use with a more production level framework, so we went with Django instead of Flask. We're lacking some of the polish and graphics and user design, but it was more about getting the data imported and visualized. And Will, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hey guys, I'm Will. I'm a student right now at Purdue University, and I'm studying computer science with a focus in software engineering. So, full-time student right now.
Yeah, so our project is called Stripe Stats. Basically, Stripe, if you don't know, it's a payment processor, kind of like PayPal. It's really, not a processor, I guess, but like a gateway. It's really well liked because it has a really good API, but like it's I'm sharing my screen right now if you guys can see it.
We can.
The dashboard here is like very, very basic. And Stripe is also like used a lot for subscription plans as well as one-off purchases because they use it the way Square is used, like at conventions and things like that. So we thought it'd be interesting to kind of put together a small, free, open source reporting system for it. There's a couple of other analytic services out there, but they're all paid and they're kind of expensive, about $80 or more per month, and so it's kind of hard to justify that cost if you're a pretty small company. So we initially set out to do 3 different reports. We ended up only getting around to doing one. But basically, we wanted to just have a couple of different options, and this is kind of a project that I plan on continuing myself anyway. We built it. We originally planned on building it with Python 3 and Django, but Cloud9 kind of like forces Django to play nice with 2.7, which wasn't too much of an issue. We have a MySQL server, and we're using SQL Alchemy with PyMySQL to connect to it. But we also have the Django ORM that we kind of have to wrestle with. And some of the libraries we're using are Stripe to interface with like their API to get charges and import them into the database. Pandas for the actual data work. NumPy because it's a requirement for Pandas. And Bokeh, which does really quick visualizations for data.
Bokeh, I had a friend who worked making Bokeh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's changed a lot between the last version 0.81, I think, and then latest version 0.9. It's really great. I just wish there was a lot more documentation for it.
If you need help, I can contact with my friend.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. That'd be great. Neil, you want to speak a little more?
Sure. So we got started for project management. We initially set up a Google Docs with all of the features we were looking to set out and a Trello board with to-dos and completes. So the basic idea was early on to kind of research how the libraries worked and set up the environments. That meant installing Django, creating our GitHub repos, also generating a bunch of test data in the Stripe dashboard so that we could actually look at that data. So we needed various different types of plans and fail data, proper data, things like that. I also needed to set up MySQL. We wanted to go with MySQL because of the Pandas and Bokeh integration, so they had ties into that, which made it kind of convenient, and also just for if we wanted to do more queries later, it kind of worked that way. Fortunately, when we set it up, looking at the Stripe API, they actually have a Python library. So all of the data we could pull down from the Python library, it came down in the form of objects. So we didn't have to like parse JSON or anything like that. We could actually just access the objects and pull them in that way and get the data pretty cleanly. Looking at the Python kind of different objects and classes, the main one we worked with was a table or class called charge. And what charges do is they track all of the different charges that come in, be it from a plan or from an individual. And there's a whole bunch of different descriptions. So there's the description, the amount, a refunded amount, if it was captured or if it failed, when it was captured, and then the plan name that's associated with it. So if you see on Yatri's screen here, the column to the far right, that'll indicate that it's a recurring plan. If it's null or none, then that means it's a one-off payment. And he worked around that. So what we decided to do is pulling in this data, I used the Django ORM to create a table in MySQL, and we used migrations to manage that table so that when we made changes to it, which I had to do quite a few because I caught things like some fields were set to not null, some needed to be not blank, or there was just different character types that weren't correct. So if you see the migrations folder, I applied about 7 or 8 different migrations to this table so that we can maintain it across environments. Being on Cloud9, it wasn't as important, but they're there if we ever wanted to move this to another local environment. So that writes the data to the MySQL. So if you go into, Yatri, if you want to go into views.
Oh, yeah, I'm in views right here. Here we go.
Yep. So in views, we have import charges method that it starts by calling the Stripe API, stripe.charge.all, and we're just doing 100 charges right now. in the future we could set date ranges to select the charges, or do a bigger limit with the has more and iterating through the different objects. So we iterate through every charge in there, and then we create a charge object, and we save it to the database with the Django ORM. Just a few things we have to do before we stick it into our MySQL database for processing, though. First, we had to convert the date time, the kind of the Unix date time, into a MySQL-friendly date timestamp. And then second, we also inspect to see if it's there already so that we don't write a duplicate to the table. And we talked about this a bit. We weren't quite sure the best way and how to handle this. We talked about creating a separate reports table. We talked about just querying the Stripe API on date ranges and only saying that only pull ones from that date range to avoid duplicates. But just by inspecting the charge ID seemed like the safest thing to do for this kind of smaller project for right now.
Can you guys show a little bit more about the project?
Yeah, so this is basically the site. It's very bare bones, as you can see. We kind of designed it to be something that is kind of an internal tool that you'd use at your company. So, like as an example, I use this today with my boss when we were talking about certain issues. But it's something that we just run in a VM and handle the data every so often for monthly issues. The only we plugged in our the test API key just so we could get the data here, but you would obviously use your Stripe API key, and then you would click the button to update all recent charges, and then all you have to do is you click on the specific report you want to see, and it'll go through and give you something like this. So basically, for this one, it's comparing your net income and what avenues you have, whether they're subscriptions or one-time purchases. So you can see here we've got like 70-something% of whatever we've got in coming from subscriptions versus one-time purchases. When we demoed this last night, I mean, it was I think 69 and 31%, and because we set up some recurring charges to be daily to get some more sample data. It's changed a lot in just one day. But yeah, that's basically what you'd get. There's a couple of more things we wanted to add in, like as an example, like Stripe's dashboard is pretty bare bones, but if you have, I mean, these are the kinds of plans that we are offering, like a $10 monthly, 7 monthly, 1, 2, and 3 daily plans. So you could ask questions like, how many of your users have only 1 subscription? How many have 2 subscriptions? How many have 3 subscriptions, and so on? And then for each number of prescriptions, you could say, what's the most popular plan? So for all users who have 2 subscriptions, what's the most popular plan? And you might find that it's like a $2 daily plan or a $1 daily plan. So we kind of got an idea of how to do that, but it's a little tricky, I think, working with that, because we have to pull through Stripe's customer objects and then iterate through them just to see what's there in terms of if there are any subscriptions, and if there are, how many, and how to tabulate that data.
Yeah, so I think what we tackled in this project was we learned the Stripe API, and then we learned how to visualize data with pandas out of MySQL, and then we had to learn how to pass data from pandas and Boca into Django so that it would be compatible with the templates, because it actually renders it out as raw HTML, and you have to pull different things out and pull them to the template that way. So we have just the one report, but to extend this kind of platform, you would just kind of continue writing your pandas or Boca code, and then just create a few more views or controllers here, and the other reports would work. So in this case, it's a pretty simple app. The interface just refreshes the charges and fires off the one report.
Yeah, you can see in the code, I mean, pretty much what we're doing is we're just reading the data. We're reading whatever columns we want specifically and loading it into a pandas data frame. And then we can just calculate the net over here in line 88. We can calculate the net based on the amount a charge had minus the amount refunded for that charge. And then we can go through and filter out which ones are subscriptions and which ones are one-off payments. And we're just calculating percentages here and passing that into Bokeh. Bokeh is really powerful for this kind of thing. You can see here I have like from line 76 to 84 here. That's literally all there is to making that chart. But in terms of formatting it and knowing how to put in the data properly from a pandas object or from an array, it's really tricky.
Cool. So guys, do you want to wrap it up for Martin and Alan to provide their comments and questions?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see this like as being
something maybe you talk about a lot about technology, maybe something regarding the process, how you guys work together, something like that.
So one of the issues we had was essentially all three of us lost last week because of various reasons. I was ill. I think Will was around because school started up. So it was kind of difficult to kind of figure that out, and it was also kind of a pain. I know, Neil, you had some issues with Django's ORM, right?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we started was new here. We hadn't used before, so using Django for the first time was new for us. The Stripe API, we knew Python from the class, but all the technologies were new. I'd say working together, it was mostly just an issue of time this time around. Mm-hmm. I think, we utilized Slack, we utilized the Trello board to kind of keep track of things that way. I wish we had time to move this to a production environment off of Cloud9, but it's fairly ready to go. It's set up so that the environment variables are what passes in the key, so they're not stored that way on Git, so we protected them that way. I thought about just putting a C name pointing to this so we could use it that way, but no, I think we segmented stuff okay. Will and I worked on the Stripe API early on, and the Django integration, and then Yatri tackled most of the visualization stuff. And then in this last week, we worked together to kind of marry those things together.
It was interesting working with so many new libraries all at the same time.
We have like 12 imports on some of our files.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an idea, here's our list of imports at the top here. It's very kind of complicated. So I think that's something like to refactor. That's something I want to clean that up, and obviously, like working with a more strict virtual environment to get all the requirements satisfied and figured out. But I think like the way we kind of tackled it, we built most of the backbone of what we need, so it's relatively easy to add new reports now that we figured out how these libraries work and structured the importing of the charges and everything the right way. So yeah, it's something I hope to continue to work on a little bit at least, because I know I can get some personal use out of it. So
I'm pretty sure Yatri's looking to make money off this thing. He's just not going to tell us. It's just it's going to show up in his company's commercial software. It's a matter of time.
Now we'll go through it. I mean,
we should get a B2 here. Our business model is going to be profiting from demo day projects.
Yeah, you already have hackathons that steal equity, right? Yeah.
Alan, Martin, you guys have any questions? Tear up.
Yeah, I want to know how did you organize the Trello board? Who managed the Trello board? How did you
that was Neil, I think.
Yeah, I set that up. I've worked as a product manager in the past, so I kind of broke it down into the 3 kind of sprints that I thought we would work on. So the early stuff was largely the setup and some research, and then later it was more of the kind of core tasks and support. So I started it so that we had one report to work on early on, and then the secondary reports in the end. And then the final items for like, push to production or unit testing like that, they would all come last. So it wasn't an in-depth Trello board, but it was kind of a high-level Trello board.
Okay, cool.
I linked it in the chat in case you guys want to.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, if I could go back, one of the things I'd like to do is stick a little more firmly to the Trello board. I would say like probably 90% of the time I spent on this project was reading lots of documentation and just playing around with the libraries in the REPL. And if I kind of structured my time a little bit better, I probably could have benefited a lot more from unit testing and incremental commits in Git and things like that. So.
Very cool. Yeah, I've been looking at the code actually. As you mentioned, looks like you made the backbone of the application and works. So it's good. For me, it's okay. I have some advice for you. I will write it down in the chat in a moment. For me, it's okay. Did you feel comfortable working with other people and trying to mix your work and organize it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the three of us got along pretty well with the project and figured things out, and we had a pretty good workflow like amongst us, So it wasn't. It was pretty straightforward and really easy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we had to segment it to get what we got done in the 3 weeks. But I think the plan is after this to do some debriefing so that Yatri can kind of catch me and Will up on some of the Panda stuff, so we'll understand that a little bit better. I've got like a high-level understanding of it, but because he's the one that dug into it, and me and Will are the ones that worked on the Stripe API and kind of set up Django, so we'll probably, teach Yatri more about web frameworks after the fact. And there was some explanations in the process, but it was all a little quick.
Yeah, we went through some of it, I think, in the last couple of days, but we still have a lot more to cover, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Bitbucket repo. Does this have everything? Because I couldn't find like that views file unless it was in Stripe.
That was I had set up that Bitbucket repo before Martin sent us the official repo on rmotr.
Oh, so there's one on GitHub?
Yeah, so wherever I'd have to see where that one is now, see where the origin is on that one. But yeah, I moved it all to the new one that he requested.
Oh yeah, okay, never mind. Here, I found it. Right, cool. How'd you guys like Cloud9?
I really like it for developing, because the only other thing out there is probably Nitrous, and Nitrous isn't as good as Cloud9 is for a lot of this stuff. But there are a lot of small, annoying things that we had to deal with. Like when I shared, when we shared the workspaces, all the terminals would also get shared, and terminal resizing is a huge pain in Cloud9 when it's shared.
Yeah,
trust me, I know.
I would like to see
why, but it doesn't make it any easier to deal with,
Right.
Yeah, I would like to see the best way to push from Cloud9 to a production environment at some point. Obviously you could just git clone some of it, but then you would have to move environment variables. And then I guess moving the database, I'm not sure the best way to move the database with data. I guess you could just do like a MySQL export and import it that way, but it seems like it'd be hard to keep it in sync. But I feel like every real-world job I've had has had that problem too, so I don't know.
Right. I remember actually when I made my demo day project with my partners, we were working on Cloud9, but we were also like maintaining a repo on GitHub, and like getting it up on Heroku was just like a complete nightmare because we had to like change a whole bunch of stuff because Heroku's like compatibilities don't match that of Cloud9, so it was like a whole mess. But it's really convenient, obviously, for working with other people, especially if you don't like have a lot of experience with Git.
Environments really eat in a lot of time for kind of beginners like us.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to say that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, one of the things, like, if we had a little more time, I probably would have dug into virtual env wrapper a little bit more, and we could have found like a little cleaner way to set up all those requirements too, you know, and that would have helped a lot.
Sure. No, absolutely. Virtual env wrapper is really easy to set up, so like I highly recommend it. I can't even imagine like using virtual env without it anymore, especially because it puts all your virtual environments in like one directory, so you don't have it like cluttering up your project and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning to deploy in the near future? Do you guys see the project as being close to ready?
I think it needs some more work. I mean, I want to really kind of clean up the backbone of everything, just a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think this is something. It's kind of tricky. Like deploying this as a web app is kind of tricky because you're importing tons of financial data and you're sticking it in a database. So I don't imagine this is something that we'd like host on a server for anybody to use. I kind of envision this a little more as something like each company would kind of set up internally and use just themselves. That way they don't have to worry too much about the data stewardship aspect of it.
Actually, I think that makes a lot of sense because I guess if you put it online and make it a web app, then you have a whole bunch of security concerns you have to deal with, and that's a whole other domain that you'd have to master.
PCI compliance is not something to mess with.
Yeah, definitely not. You know? Especially because like the Stripe API is very powerful, but it also makes it really easy to grab anything that you'd want from what's there. So
yeah, I would like to add some settings in there where you can change or switch between production and test API keys, or just enter one manually. Right now, it's just hard coded to an environment variable, just for the one we're using, so we could commit to Git. But I just didn't set up any of those kind of forms or setting kind of pages.
Cool.
I think eventually we'd also like to add some archiving of reports by date. The ability, I mean, the ability is already there because of Boca that you can actually download the charts without an issue. But yeah, and also I think one of the big things is the ability to just kind of a one-click, or I guess a two-click, erase all the data and get rid of everything in the database, you know?
All right, let's wrap it up so we can be respectful with everyone's time. Of course, you can keep the conversation going if you want. This is interesting. Alan, Martin, anything else you'd like to add or say to these guys or whatever? Or do Doug and Set Shift 2?
I was going to say, just if you want to keep doing development, get used to just constantly being in the docs, because at my new job, that's all I do. I'm just like constantly trying to figure out all the different APIs we're using, and it's just like a never-ending like thing. But it's okay. It's fun. But you never, at least for me, I feel like, you know, you never like get a chance to really settle and master something before something new is on your plate, and then you just have to like work with that. So I think being good at just like picking things out of the docs and being able to work out of them is like probably a really good skill to have and build.
That was, yeah, like I said, 90% of my time was that. I got pretty comfortable with it pretty quick.
Yeah, getting better at reading docs and getting better at debugging code, those two things would save me a lot of time.
Yeah. You have to stick to the methodology you want to use in order to accomplish your aims and your objectives. Try to keep pushing, but stick to your methodology always. Make
All right.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that make it your development path much more easier.
Yeah, that's the goal there. A little bit more discipline, I think. It was a little difficult for us. outside of all of our other stuff. But I think if we had a little more time and we didn't lose that week, I think it would have been a lot easier to stick to that. But yeah, there's definitely something I'm remembering going forwards. You know.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you very much again, Alan and Martin. Thank you. We know this extra time I was talking to Alan was he was going back from work to his place, so taking this hour to be here is really it's awesome for us. We really appreciate that. The same for
problem.
Martin. Martin was earlier today with us, also in the other demo day for Europe. So 2 hours of your day dedicated to us. It's amazing.
Anytime.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.
Congratulations to
pleasure.
you all. Maybe Martin and I will like to do something, some final feedback, and we are all good to go. Martin?
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. What I really like about the first team was that it was kind of a small project, really focused, objective, and problem, and they really managed to get the solution from beginning to the end. And the problem was not that, the scope was not that big, but they solved the problem in an amazing way, and they also managed to make it look really good. So I'm really happy with the project. I think that is exactly what we expect from a demo day project. In the other hand, the second team, I think the scope was kind of challenging, much more challenging than the other one. Maybe there was a problem in the estimation there, but anyway, you managed to make it work and have something working after 3 weeks, even though you lost 1 week. So that was also valuable for us. And the last thing I want to say is that this was an amazing group. I had the chance to be a professor this time. I'm really happy with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we had I'm sure we all had like a really interesting time working with all this, and you guys were great teachers too. So thank you so much.
So I have a couple of things to say. I will just keep it short. I can get you privately later. The biggest thing I found you might want to get better at is the methodology you use regarding code. So I haven't seen a great repo, right? So having a README, having issues there, working with pull requests, those are things that seem stupid but are really, really, really important. Both projects seems really cool. Dog and Sajib, I really liked the polishing you did. Having something that is polished and finished, it's really, really valuable. It's a real life problem too, or interesting project, so that's cool. You guys, Yatri, Will, and Neil, having working with data, right? Something we don't even teach. Something we're really like far away from teaching. It's also really cool, and working with so many libraries is it's amazing. And finally, I want to encourage you all guys to keep working. I don't know if this is the first project you publish, but keep publishing. You know, this is the way you start getting recognition. Keep working together. Keep pushing things to GitHub. Write a blog post about what you have just done. We will help you out with that. But it's been an amazing project for you both, and just 3 weeks. It's really valuable. So thank you all for being here. If anyone else has any final comment, we can hear you, or otherwise we will just wrap it up. And thank you again, Alan and Martin, for being here.
No problem. Anytime. For the groups, if you have any question, any doubt, you can contact me. We can keep in touch, even if I have not been your teacher or leader instructor. We can be a partner. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much.
Great job, guys.
All right, people. Thank you all again. We're still in touch.
Later.
You guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.